everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm sharing with you guys 3 easy healthy dessert recipes. They're delicious. We're making a brookie, some caramelized bananas, and some cashew clusters. All of them easy to make, healthy, delicious dessert recipes. Let's go ahead and jump in. So the first thing we're making are these brookies, which is basically a cross between a brownie and a cookie. So if you can't decide, this recipe is definitely for you. So I'm starting off by chopping up some chocolate. I'm using a dairy-free, sugar-free one. It's unsweetened. And we're just chopping that up roughly so that we can melt it down in a double broiler. You can definitely do this in the microwave as well. Just make sure that you keep an eye on it because it can burn quite quickly. So I like to just put mine on a double broiler with some water beneath it and allow it to melt. Once it's fully melted, I'm adding in some cacao, some coconut sugar, which is great unrefined sugar to use, some vanilla, as well as some melted coconut oil. Melting it a little bit will allow it to come together a lot smoother. If you use the coconut oil kind of more in the solid form, it will just be a lot more difficult to mix together. So stir that until it is nice and smooth. And then for our flour, I'm adding in almond flour, full of vitamin E, great healthy fats and protein, some baking soda, and then an egg. You can definitely use a flax egg in this recipe if you are vegan. Just make sure you really allow it to gel up for a good 10-15 minutes. So stir that all together, and that is going to make our brownie batter. Then we need to make the cookie batter portion. So I'm using some nut butter, some coconut sugar, and an egg. Really simple. You can use any kind of nut butter that you have, or even a seed butter if you want to make them more of a nut-free cookie part. You do have to use the almond flour for the brownies, but if you wanted to use a seed butter here for a different flavor, you definitely could as well. So stir that together until it is nice and smooth, and then I'm adding in a little bit of baking soda and some almond flour because we are using it to get a little bit thicker of a texture. So depending on how runny your nut butter is, this can vary. If it's really thick, you won't need the extra almond flour. If it's really runny and liquidy, almost like a smoothie, you might need a few tablespoons of almond flour just to thicken it up. So then I lined a pan with the parchment paper and I scooped out the brownie mixture, and then I'm adding on the globs of the cookie dough. So we're gonna put that in globs and kind of just press it into the brownie batter so that we can make kind of like a swirl. It doesn't have to be perfect. You want it to kind of look perfectly imperfect, so just press that down. And we're gonna bake this at 350 degrees for about 22 minutes or until a toothpick comes out clean from the center. Make sure you allow it to cool for a good 15 minutes before cutting it because you don't want it to fall apart because they are quite of a fudgy brownie. And then you have these fudgy, brookie, brownie, cookie things. That's a mouthful, but honestly, they're so good and the perfect combination of cookie and brownie in one. Next up, we are making cashew clusters. Guys, I love cashew clusters. They're so easy to make and make for the perfect little sweet treat. So all you do, again, is melt down some of the chocolate. I'm using an unsweetened one. Put a few cashews on the top. You can also do this with, pecans, walnuts, macadamia nuts even. And we're just gonna be freezing them. So you keep doing this, putting a cluster of your nuts on. This takes like 5 minutes to make and they harden quite quickly. So I'm just doing that with all of the different clusters. Keep doing a little bit of chocolate on the bottom so that the clusters of the nuts can stick to it. And then we're also going to put a little bit on the top again, just to make sure everything kind of sticks together. I like to add on a little bit of flaked salt. I really like kind of like a salted in anything, honestly, dessert, but that's optional. Allow it to harden in the fridge for about 10 minutes, and then you have these wonderful clusters. I like to have 1 or 2 after dinner. It's the perfect like little something when you want something chocolatey. And then we are making caramelized bananas, which are so easy to make. So I'm just slicing up half of a banana in really thin slices. Bananas have lots of potassium, but they're also naturally sweet. And I always like using, more natural forms of sweetness when we can. So things like bananas are great. I added a teaspoon of coconut oil to a pan and we're heating this on medium heat. I'm putting on some cinnamon for some flavor, and then we are just going to cook the bananas until they are soft and golden. I like to enjoy mine on top of some coconut yogurt. This one is literally one ingredient. I think it's like just coconuts, or it's coconuts and probiotics, but it's like 1 to 2 ingredients. You put the bananas on the top, and it's kind of like bananas and ice cream, but better for you. A little bit of sweetness from the banana, but you still have like the creaminess of the cold yogurt plus the warmth of the caramelized banana. And honestly, it's so good. You can even put a little bit of brownie or brookie with this, add on some crunchy nuts if you wanted, and make this a total sundae. All right, guys, I'm gonna leave my last healthy dessert recipe here on the screen so you can watch that and get tons more inspiration. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a good old thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.